Good day, everyone. We are the Group 4, and the topic that we are going to present is individual identity versus social identity online. The objectives of this presentation is to fully understand its meaning of individual identity and social identity online, to know the difference between individual identity and social identity online, to know the similarities of individual identity and social identity online, to identify the importance of individual and social identity online, to know more of some examples of individual and social identity online, and last is to be aware of how social identity online affects the real identity.
Good day, everyone. My name is Mark Justin Kimada. Individual identity. What is individual identity? Personal identity, also known as individual identity, is a person's unique numerical identity over time. The goal of most discussion about personal identity is to discover the necessary and sufficient condition under which a person at one moment and another can be claimed to be the same person over time. Next, please. Important part of individual identity. First, gender. Second, race. Third, religion and beliefs. Three aspects of your personal identity is first, your like and dislike. Second, your talent and abilities. The third is your goal. Importance of identity. Our self definition is a reflection of our culture, interest, connection, and ability to accomplish the thing that matter to us. Various elements such as our experience, community, and physical surrounding like place, influence, feelings, and identity and belonging. In my own understanding about the individual identity is personal identity is the concept you to develop about yourself that involved or over the course of our life. So this maybe include aspects of your life that you that you have no control over, such as where you grow up, or the color of your skin, as well as choose you make it you um grow up, the color of your skin, as well as choice you make in life, such as how you spend your time and what you believe. So I give you some example of individual identity. Example is a gay, lesbian, bisexual, people who attract to people of two gender. A term referring to the potential for attraction of love or love towards people of all gender identities and sex. Thank you. Next, please.
So, alright, we'll present social identity online. So, what is social identity online? What is social identity? The way we identify ourselves in relation to others based on what we have in common is referred to as social identity. For example, we can identify ourselves according to religion, or where we're from, political affiliation, vocation, or relationship. What is social identity online? An internet user online identity, also known as an online identity or an online persona, is a social identity that they create in online communities and websites. It could also be a deliberately crafted image of oneself, while some people choose to use their true names online while others want to remain anonymous. So, some brief explanation of social identity is our social identity is defined as our common relationship with others. It might be our occupation, birthplace, or the neighborhood in which we reside, or anything else that is shared by other people. One situational example is us. We all study at the same institution, like UC in UTC, and this is our social identity, being the students of UC. On the other side, our social identity online is our identification in the online community. It is the picture we crafted for the people to believe in the internet world. Social media photographs have been a good illustration of this. While some individuals bravely display their flaws, it is impossible to dismiss that the majority of people using social media utilizes filters to enhance their features. So, examples of social identity online is we all are we are all aware of the distinction between social media websites and online games. Social media websites are platforms where we get and share thoughts, informations, daily updates, photos, videos, and many other things. Whether if they're yours, from a family member, a friend, or even a stranger. Whereas online games are platforms where we mostly interact with others through playing through playing. These two may be different, but we utilize them to entertain ourselves, and more importantly, to construct identities for the
Nakamute ka, pre.
for other individuals we've met in the digital world. Though we utilize both platforms differently, they both allow us to project impressions in the online world that may differ from our social or true selves. Social media websites are these are as you can see in the presentation, you can see some social platforms and online games. As you can see from the images, social media platform, whether they are websites or gaming platform, uh, allows us to disguise ourselves or our identities the other public from the public and seems as we like in the online world. For example, as with our profile images, we are given alternatives to pick what we want to present to our online audiences and choices results in impressions, which are now our social identity online. Like this, like the avatar, we get to choose what avatar we will use in the online game.
Good day, everyone. My name is Clint Beringel. The importance of individual identity. It makes us comfortable. It makes us unique and distinguishes us from everyone else. It strengthens our character. It helps us to be more aware of our immediate and our place in it. It helps us to show more of ourselves and be confident. Why is individual identity important? Firstly, maintaining self identity is important because it strengthens your character. That is, when we know who we are, have a confidence in ourselves, and are able to identify our strengths, we emerge as stronger individuals. Secondly, it keeps us unique and distinguishes us from everyone else because God created each of us differently for a reason. Embrace who you are and love yourself. Thirdly, maintaining our self identity keeps us comfortable because the sooner we embrace ourselves, flaws, and all, the sooner we rid of ourselves of insecurities and become comfortable with who we are. And believe me, you cannot put a price on being comfortable with your in your own skin. Finally, we became more aware of our immediate environment and our place in it because we are all here for a purpose and recognizing our self-identity equips us with what we need to live out that purpose. With that said, I entreat you to maintain your self-identity and to remain true to yourself always. Next, please. The importance of social identity online. It provides platforms, gives people a place to express their emotions and reveal different aspects of their personalities. It allows others to gain a more complete understanding of you. It aids in the formation of people's interpersonal perceptions. It may also assist you in socializing simply by using the platforms. You may interact with others and possibly meet and make friends online. Next,
Advantage and disadvantage of social identity online. Advantage can build a positive online presence for profession opportunities. Disadvantage identity theft and misuse. The example of identity theft and misuse is where since your identity is online, example, your account is being hacked by the others, and that would be a identity thief and misuse. While disadvantage is build a positive online presence for professional opportunities. For me, you can be easily recognized on how you are and what is your personality through social identity online. Next, please. Next, please. Difference between real identity and social identity online. What is your identity and what is your identity online? Identity has many definitions, but being extremely critical, we can sum it up in a few words. You're who you are, not what you do. Simply put, your identity is some of your characteristics, including your birthplace and birthday, the school attended, your shoe size, all. Some of those characteristics never change, such as your birthday, and some change over time, such as your hair color or behavior. So, your real identity, is based on your physical identity. As what I have said earlier, the example is your birthplace and birthday, the school you attended, your shoe size, and so on. While social identity is what people say or what is your identity online. Thank you. Next, please.
Difference
Different.
between identity and social identity online. Your online identity is not the same as a real world identity because the characteristics you represent in the physical world is different. The result is that you have one true identity and many partial identities. Some of the information associated with a partial identity is under control. Other information may be out of your control or even completely invisible to you. Regardless of what you cannot control, they they all contribute to who you are and what you do. Next page, please. So, what is an identifier and how is that different from my identity? An identifier is a way of referring to a collection of a person's characteristics or what we have described here as a partial identity. For example, if you have an Apple Mobile Me account, your identifier at Mobile Me may be something like my ID at me.com or most websites, including search engines, prefer to have you sign up or register so they can maintain information about your identity, such as your profile, or store your profile information more securely. In some cases, the identifier may be invisible to you. For example, if you use Microsoft Bing to search for something on the internet, Bing will assign you to identifier and store in your web browser as a cookie. So, for me, an identifier is a name that identifies that is labels the identify of either a unique object or a unique class of object where the object or class may be an idea, physical countable, or a class theory or physical non-accountable substance or class theory. So while there are many identities that can describe a person, there are some that are more salient than others. There are big eight social constructed identities such as the race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, gender identity, ability, religion or spirituality, nationality, and socioeconomic status. So our online identity is no longer reflects to our true selves, but rather than the person we think friends, family, and others people should see. So, what defines your online identity? So, internet identity or IDD. Also, identify our internet persona is a social identity that an internet user establishes in online communities and websites. It may also be an actively constructed presentation of oneself. That's all. Thank you. Next.
Example of individual and social identity online. Individual identity: first, skin color; second, religion;
Third, culture. Individual identity. We must consider our skin color, religion, ethnicity, culture, tradition, justice, and beliefs, as well as other components of our personal identity. To add on my own standpoint, our skin color, religion, and culture are stances of how we identify ourselves uniquely, not hiding but displaying how we are as individual. We have brown complexion which is more frequent among Filipinos, and we name it kayumangi. In our local language, in our in other nation, we are also white people and black people who will themselves to be their own race and aspire to be respected religion which determine us in our beliefs. There are Catholics, Muslim, UCP, born again, and many other more religion to be said and and this also identify as our personal identity and culture which we had here in our country, not only here in our country, but it's also in other countries. But different views of and culture here in the Philippines, we Filipinos are resilient in times of difficulties, respectful not only on the LTR ones but to everyone. We are also considered as helpful, polite, and devoted not only in religious activities but also in our traditions. And for me, this made us Filipinos unique among others. Social identity. First, social media profile. Second, online games account. Social media online. Your social identity online is representation of yourself that can be found on social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, Snapchat, and others. In my example of online social identity is social identity, I mentioned social media profiles and online games account. In this example, we can let others see what we want to say, show and express, and we can also fake our identities by using other names and pictures that hide us from our true selves, which is very inappropriate, similar to Mobile Legends, Dota, Clash of Clans, Fortnite, Call of Duty, and other online games. You ma you can base our IGN on what you want to be known as gamer. Choose avatar as your online gaming profile. Next, how is individual identity determined? Individual identity. Our individual identity is determined by what others think of us. Our identity is comprised of inner qualities and outer representations of self. It consists in innumerable defining characteristics that make up the whole of who we are in any given moment. This fragment of self include our sexuality, gender, and sense of belonging to a particular culture and nation, religion, family, or some other group. Our identity includes our look, personality, beliefs, and fears. Each individual is society assign themselves a particular role, whether is be as a mother, brother, retired former sportsman, or a part of their occupation, a doctor or lawyer. Individual identity can be identifies as who we are personally, our gender, whether we are male, female, bisexual, lesbian, gay, or what gender you belong. Your religion, whether you are Catholic, Muslim, Baptist, born again, OCP, or born again, OCP, Filipinos, you are Filipino, American, Chinese, Taiwanese, or whatever nationality you belong. Your looks first like fashion, taste, career, and hobbies. This barely describe you as an individual personally, and that's how you will be identity as you. That's it. By the way, I'm Clay. Oh, I'm Sinjan Bisumaya. That's all. Next.
So, so I'm Yuzelkian OPP2. My 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 report is how is social identity online determined? Social identity theory aims to specify and predict the circumstances under which individuals think of themselves as individuals or as group members. The theory also considers the consequences of personal and social identities. For individuals' perceptions and group behavior, social identity theory was developed to explain how individuals create and define their place in society. According to the theory, three psychological processes are central and that regards social categorization, social comparison, and social identification. Your online identity is not the same as your real world identity because the characteristic you represent online differ from the characteristic you represent in the physical world. Every website you interact with has its own idea of your identity because each one you visit sees you and your characteristic differently. For example, Amazon has established a partial identity for you based on the product you buy, whether it's you and the keyboard or someone else using your account. Yahoo Finance has established a partial, partial identity for you based on the stock you are following, whether you actually own those stocks or not. Neither or has your full identity, even if they were to put together your partial identities. That's all. Thank you.
So that's our report. Thank you for listening. And we are the group 4. Bye.